second round of the MTA NSW Rally Championship took place in the beautiful Mitta Valley in the heart of the Victorian High Country. This round would be combined with the Victorian Championship, but the bonus for any of the Victorians is they automatically score points in the MTA New South Wales series. The rally is divided into two heats. Heat 1 consists of just 2 stages south of the Mitta township. Special Stage 1 is a 14-kilometre uphill section on typical tight, twisty and technical high country forest roads. With overnight rains, conditions would be tricky, and Warren Lee in the Mitsubishi Lancer would be the first to retire with mechanical issues. This left Lindsay Wright in the WRX as the first Victorian to finish Stage 1.
It was pretty grippy at the start, so got the confidence up early, but then it started to slip up through the back end, so a couple of little corners nearly caught me out, but I caught him, so it was all right.
Franco Luisi in the Evo Lancer also struck problems in SS1.
We've lost all gears and had to select 4th gear and try and get it out of stage, and in doing so I think we've burnt the clutch as well, so not a great stage. What do you do?
Andrew Mora was in another Evo, and it made the trip from New South Wales to further develop his driving and the car. But at the end of SS1, he wondered if he was in a rally at all.
It was like a big drift session. It was a bit slippery. But no, we only had one little boo-boo. I'm a bit behind on power. I think we've got a bit of a boost leak as well, but it'll be all right. We're just learning to drive the car.
He was 8th in the 37-kilometre Stage 2, and that's where he finished the heat. Matt Lee is the current leader of the Victorian Championship and was obviously hoping for a good result here to extend his lead.
Probably familiar in the Commodore, but driving the WRX in something that tight is a very new experience for me. That was hard work and slippery.
But looking at the results at the end of stage, he was only just inside the top 10 and surprised by the fastest time.
Yeah, that's just talent, because the conditions, it still would have been slippery for him, so to take a minute off us in there, that's 4 seconds a K, that's a good driver, that's what that is.
A flat tyre in SS2 would drop the WRX driver down the leaderboard, dashing any hopes of a top result and points from Heat 1. Ben Hayes in the Subaru WRX was the quickest of the Victorians. He was 3rd in SS1 with a time of 12 minutes and 53 seconds.
Really enjoyed it. Tight, slippery, definitely keeps you on your toes, so good way to start.
He went on to set another 3rd fastest time in SS2, equalling the time of Tim Wilkins and finishing the heat just 1 second ahead of Wilkins in 3rd. Tim Wilkins had a closed pattern tyre to start the event and only just made it through Special Stage 1. He was a second behind Hayes.
Very slippery, a bit more than expected. We actually had an overshoot and had to reverse back. Thought I was bogged for a second, but time to get used to these wet conditions. I've never driven a wet rally before in my life, so see how it is on the next one.
SS2 was quite wet and still struggling for grip. He did well to equal Hayes' time, but was a full minute behind the leaders, and by now his confidence was low and he opted for a change in tyre pattern for Heat 2. It was the Lancer Evos of Tom Clarke and JJ Hatton that would dominate the first 2 stages.
Flying finish on right bend. Slow.
Clarke taking the first stage win with a 16-second gap back to JJ Hatton, who was clearly in his element by the end of SS1.
Geez, that stage is like, it's loose, slippy, trees, leaves. I should have went more in the gym, you know what I mean? It's flat, it's left, right, slippy, grass, you know? Love it, sliding all over the place. It's great fun. I even tried to keep it straight, but the ground is so slippery. I was sliding, I overshot in one corner, but other than that, it's a good first stage, I think.
Hatton would take the stage win in SS2 with a 3-second margin over Clarke. But the Heat 1 victory would go to Tom Clarke and Ryan Preston.
Incredible stages, really enjoyed them. Bit slippery in the end of that second stage. It was sort of to a point there where we had to back right off because it was just out of control, but had a blast.
Okay, goes left. Well, you beat Darren Windus's time.
Really, in the wet? He must be going fast.
So that's Heat 1 of the Borders Oil and Batteries Mitta Mountain Rally. Welcome back to our review of the 2018 Mitta Mountain Rally, Round 2 of the MTA New South Wales Rally Championship. Heat 2 consists of 3 stages, 2 relatively short stages of 22 and 18 kilometres respectively, followed by the final 39 kilometre Dorchip Range stage. To get the heat started, we head to SS3, Mount Benambra. At 22.73 kilometres, it starts on a downhill run across a ridgeline and then finishes downhill into the farmlands of the Mitta Valley. Consistent driving would see Andrew Mora maintain the same position throughout the day. He finished both heats and the event in 8th position. The new car and a new rally means a lot of learning.
Yeah, starting to get the hang of it. There's a couple of little things I want to have a bit of a tweak with, but I built the thing myself, so it's all a learning progress, so we'll get there. It'll be good.
Paul Eccles in the Subaru WRX was doing well after Heat 1, sitting comfortably in 5th outright. But as conditions dried out, there were a few two-wheel drives setting some impressive times, dropping him back to 7th in Heat 2.
That was awesome, that stage. Yeah, had to work hard and so much grip in there. It was surprisingly. A couple little slippery spots, but generally it was really good.
And with the combined heat times, that's where he would finish the event in 7th outright. His son Stephen Eccles, having his very first drive in a WRX, was doing well. He was seeded down the order at car 25, but managed to squeeze just into the top 10 for Heat 2.
Yeah, it's been really good. I've enjoyed every second of it. The road's been fantastic. It's been nice and grippy, been fairly dry all day. So yeah, I've had an absolute ball here.
In the damp and slippery conditions, a two-wheel drive might be a disadvantage for some, but for Andrew and David Travis in the Nissan Gazelle, it didn't seem to be an issue.
Look, when it gets a bit flowing and there's not too much stop-start stuff, we can match them. Bit of horsepower up the hill also helps, but we're trying. But it's we're really here to compare our times with the two-wheel drive guys.
They were equal 6th with the Escort of Tom Dermody after Heat 1, but couldn't match his pace in Heat 2, finishing 5th. But their overall time was enough to secure a very impressive 6th outright. Matt Lee and Kathy Elliott in the Subaru WRX were having a much better Heat 2 after dropping time due to a flat earlier. They were getting into the flow of things, and the cabin conditions may have been less than ideal after the long 39-kilometre stage.
Yeah, I hope all the sweat and stinkiness in this car was worth it, because we worked pretty hard, but that was really fun. Those last 3 stages of the day were really, really enjoyable. I'd lost my confidence after the first couple, plus our puncture, but I felt heaps better in those, and it turns out I don't mind going downhill after all.
And will he be back for the next combined event?
Yeah, definitely coming to Bateman's Bay. That'll be a good weekend away, as much as anything. Actually, always been interested in doing it, so the fact that it's part of the BRC this year is good motivation to come up.
They finished the heat in 6th, but the flat in SS2 Razorback would see them outside the top 10 in outright positions. Ben Hayes finished Heat 1 in 3rd, but couldn't match the pace of the 2 New South Wales two-wheel drive cars. As the stages dried out, the four-wheel drive advantage diminished, and there was also a few issues inside the car.
Yeah, we had just some fuel surge issues, so it just took a bit of confidence away throwing corners and cutting out on us halfway through. So otherwise the car's going fairly well, but just a bit of confidence back from that issue.
The Hayes team dropped back into 7th in the heat, the two-wheel drives of Travis and Dermody finishing in front of him. His overall time for the 2 heats, splitting the 2 two-wheel drives for 5th outright. He was the first Victorian. In what could only be described as some brilliant driving, Thomas Dermody had the classic Escort flying. He was 6th after Heat 1, but then went on to set the 3rd fastest stage time in both the Mount Benambra and Dorchip Range stage. He was 4th in the Bullhead stage.
Yeah, I think this is the best rally I've nearly done to date, you know. The stages are beautiful, they're nice, twisty, real driver stages, real good fun. And the thing is, went off like clockwork all day, like, you know, you got to commend the organisers on the way the rally's been run.
Dermody is a seasoned competitor, and his experience shined through. He finished the heat and the event in 4th outright. Join us for part 3 of our review, where the battle for the lead intensifies.